My distinguished delegates, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to speak mainly on regional security aspects. I feel greatly honored and pleased to be invited to 8th Moscow Conference on International Security. This conference has been a series of engagement which offer opportunities for security dialogue with our trusted allies and other global partners. The Russian relationship with Africa, and particularly Nigeria, has been long-standing, highly beneficial, and strategically important. Nigeria believes that a good strategic partnership with Russia will help preserve our delicate security interests and indeed promote the achievement of critical national aspirations of African countries in the long run. Let me at this juncture show our condolence to our Sri Lankan brothers on the recent terrorist attack. It is gratifying to note that Russia has been consistent in furthering her interests and relationship with Africa. This is evident in the numerous trades and military, including many cooperation engagements entered with various governments in sub-Saharan Africa since 2014. It could be recalled that I led a high-level delegation to Russia Federation in 2016 and 17, respectively. Those visits further cemented the existing defense bilateral cooperation between our two countries. From the Nigerian perspective, the Nigerian-Russian relationship is strategic and necessary for many reasons. Both countries are large economies with higher markets, rich in natural resources. Also, both countries practice a system of federalism and perspective governance. Nigeria and Russia are regional leaders with about the same population. The countries are also endowed with immense human and natural resources, including arable land and hydrocarbon potentials. Furthermore, both countries are faced with a myriad of security problems. These commonalities contribute to strengthening our relationship. I look at the regional security perspective of African states. African security landscape in the 21st century consists of opportunities and contradictions. The United Nations estimates show that by the year 2035, the sub-Saharan Africa alone will have a population of about 295 million people between the ages of 15 and 24. Additionally, it is projected by 2050, the population of the age bracket will increase to 362 million. However, the economic and developmental progress made by the African continent is often threatened by setbacks owing to traditional security concerns such as insurgency, armed conflict, food insecurity, migration, economic crisis, and political instability. Perhaps a greater security concern for the African region is the emergence of new security issues such as terrorism, militancy, piracy, cultism, political and electoral violence. Others are growing youth involvement in drug abuse, refugees and internally displaced persons situation occasioned by conflicts, unemployment, poverty, natural disasters, HIV/AIDS, trafficking in person, and irregular migration, like the earlier speaker said. Consequently, there is the worrisome rise in terrorism and insurgency in the continent, with specific reference to Boko Haram in the Lake Chad Basin countries, Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab in Somalia and Kenya, and the Islamic State in Mali. These non-state actors tend to undermine the monopoly of states over the use of coercive instruments of power as a result of widespread proliferation of small arms and light weapons. Since 2009, my country, Nigeria, has been combating terrorism endangered by the Islamic sect called Boko Haram. Members of Boko Haram sect have carried a series of bombings of public places and killed many innocent citizens. The group has over the years been receiving inspiration, training, as well as mutual cooperation from other transitional terror groups within and outside Africa. Nonetheless, owing to the sustained counterinsurgency operations by a multinational joint task force, which is driven by Nigeria, it also includes Benin, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. The Boko Haram terror network has been overwhelmed, and the leadership structure is presently disseminated. Furthermore, the security challenges include piracy and armed robbery against ships in the Gulf of Guinea region. The region remains increasingly dangerous for seafarers. From the International Maritime Bureau report of 2018, the Gulf of Guinea accounts for 6 hijackings worldwide, 13 out of 18 ships fired upon, 130 out of 141 hostages taken globally, and 78 out of 83 seafarers kidnapped for ransom in 2018. These figures bring the inherent danger to commercial shipping activities in the region. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa and projected population of 180 million by 2020 has impactfully possibly on the economic, socio-economic, geostrategic, and cultural fortunes of the entire African region. Politically, Nigeria has kept Africa's interests as the priority of its foreign policy since independence. This was done through the support of liberation of South African states, in particular, the fight against apartheid regime in South Africa. This selfless effort earned the status of frontline state in the 1980s and the struggle for independence in the South Africa. Additionally, Nigeria has committed its huge human and military resources to quell insurgency in Liberia and Sierra Leone through ECOWAS sub-regional peacekeeping mechanism, leading to the political stability enjoyed in these countries today. Furthermore, Nigerian troops are currently stationed in the Gambia, Mali, and Equatorial Guinea to maintain peace and sustain that country's democracy. There is no gainsaying that the economic fortunes of West Africa's sub-region are largely tied to Nigerian economy. However, there are several challenges facing Nigerian geostrategic role in the African region, especially it affects security. A look at the challenges to regional security in Africa. There are many challenges attributed to developmental aspirations of Nigeria and the African region in general. The enormous resources of the Gulf of Guinea should ordinarily be an investment destination for investors. Some of the resources in the region include natural gas, mineral, and the expanse of forests. These resources, if carefully managed, could lead to regional prosperity. However, despite these numerous resources, the countries of the Gulf Guinea region continue to face growth and poverty. Some of the obstacles to this development include high poverty rates, unemployment, illiteracy, climate change, irregular migration, and poor governance. Other factors hindering the region growth include lack of common market, which encourages smuggling, lack of economic diversification, as well as instability at national and regional levels. Furthermore, the inability of the member states to count collective sustain and effective security control over the maritime domain gives room for poaching and other maritime crime to thrive in the region. The attributes of the region mostly consist of inability to keep up with the global enhancement in technology. This is the dividing line between successful nations and non-successful nations. Africa is finding it extremely difficult to keep abreast with the advancement in technology. African countries need to be current with technological advancement in order to safeguard their national security. The region and Nigeria in particular honestly look up to Moscow to support this respect. Your Excellencies, the federal government of Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari looks forward to the promotion of friendly and cordial relationship that will progress to excellent socio-economic partnership and the establishment of business ties which will be beneficial to both countries. On the security front, Nigeria counts on Russia's continued partnership in eliminating Boko Haram insurgency from the region. We wish to leverage on Russian experience in counter-terrorism operation to bring SCOS to the end. Military and technical assistance in this respect could be highly appreciated. We remain grateful to Russian government for numerous Nigerians who have over the years benefited from Russian training program, scholarship, and recent military hardware procurement initiative. Nigeria wishes to create the legal and environmental condition to accelerate Russian investment in the country, to expand trade and achieve better balance in the trade relationship. At the moment, the country's trade are lopsided. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Russia have grown over the years and witnessed cooperation in many fields. However, strengthening of the military and trade cooperation will strengthen mutual trust, synergy of operation, and thus further cement the relationship between the two countries and the region in general. Nigeria and the Gulf of Guinea needs to secure our maritime environment in order to curb the numerous influences of sea robbery, piracy, and hijacking of ships and other ocean-going vessels. Adequate policing of our waters will combat large-scale pollution, impair, and incidents of illegal dumping and toxic radioactive wastes into the water. Long live Nigeria-Russia relationship, long live Russian Federation, and long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank you.